We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Ryan Garcia gets at the naysayers who doubt his mental health and his anguish. We're going to talk about all of that. Also, he speaks to AC Slater, aka Mario Lopez. We're going to talk about all that and more in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you like what I'm doing, you enjoy the content, you want to know all things boxing, this is your one-stop shop. Boxingego. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification, post notification for alerts when I drop content like this, live streams and stuff. It's a great time. Now, Ryan Garcia, he pulled out of his fight. I'm not going to go into detail about everything and read this. I've already made videos. This is why I advise you guys to subscribe to the channel, because I go over all this information in real time, cover boxing so you don't miss anything, the latest and greatest. So Ryan Garcia, he announced that he was fighting Javier Fortuna. Golden Boy announced it. It looked like it was set to go, and you would imagine that the fighters would be in training camp shortly after. That wasn't the case. Ryan Garcia, a week later, posted this, and he says, hey, this news is disappointing, but I'm withdrawing from my July 9th fight. It was supposed to be with Javier Fortuna. This was a WBC sanctioned and ordered fight for an eliminator. Even though Ryan Garcia didn't need to go and do an eliminator, he could have fought Devin Haney straight away for the WBC belt, but whatever. The fight got canceled, and he said, thanks to my supporters, I'm just going through a lot of stuff, right? And apparently the feedback has been getting at him, because he's posted pictures and videos and stuff. He's with his lady in Hawaii, and this was days after he posted, I'm not fighting. I'm pulling out of my fight, things of that sort. And apparently the conversation has shifted, and some people are probably doubtful, and it has caused Ryan Garcia to speak out on those who doubt his claims of mental health issues, right? And he posted this, which I will show you a blown up version, so we don't have to be on the time restraint. Ryan Garcia says, I am seeing a lot of people talk about what they think is going on with me. I'm struggling every day, and I'm hurting emotionally so bad. If anyone has experienced anxiety and depression at high levels, knows that just because you smile and act as if things are okay doesn't mean that they are. He says, I'm writing this with shock, and I'm hurting more. I won't do anything to try to be happy. Bye, you all sick ass people. Hold on. Let me reread that. Hold on. He says, I'm writing this with shock, and I'm hurting more. I won't do anything to try to be happy. Bye. Oh, he's just being sarcastic. He said he's not going to do anything to try to be happy. Bye, you all sick ass people. So obviously people are probably doubting him because he's in Hawaii and stuff with his girl. He says, at Mario Lopez, who's famous from Saved by the Bell, AC Slater, and also Extra. He says, Mario Lopez, no, I'm not just having a bad day. No, I don't have problems with any of the people in my life. I don't know why this happened to me. It just did. He says, and to all the other people who say I'm using it to get out of my fight with Javier Fortuna, I didn't want to give up money for my family. I'm effing hurting. And it hurts so bad. But it's people like you who make it hard to continue. Now, I don't prefer this from Ryan Garcia. He said it's people like you that make it hard to continue. Like, this sounds very melodramatic. I don't know what Ryan's going through, to be honest. And it's kind of hard. Like, he hasn't let anyone into that world, but he's saying he's going through so much and he's hurting. Listen, my statement is the same. At the end of the day, Ryan Garcia is a fighter. This is probably not the sport for anybody if you can't handle the pressure, because boxing is I keep telling you, boxing is one of the only sports where when you are hurt, you have to pretend that you're not hurt. And that's for your own safety. Like in the fight, you could have a broken hand. Wilder had a broken hand and a torn bicep with Chris Arreola. Now we seen, and this was years ago, we seen Chris Arreola just drop Andy Ruiz in the second round when people thought, he was no match for Andy Ruiz. And Wilder's nursing these injuries, still got a stoppage, right? Still got a stoppage in that particular fight. And he did it with these injuries versus a guy who we just watched, as I just mentioned, drop Andy Ruiz. Then look at your stablemate, big bro, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez just revealed in an exclusive interview that in Mexico, where he is from, some people apprehended his brother and they were holding him hostage. They kidnapped him. And this was his first fight with DAZN, a brand new platform he hadn't worked with previously. His first fight on a new platform after previously working with HBO and Showtime. And they have your brother in Mexico and they're trying to get money out of you. Like they're holding him for ransom, basically. Canelo just now revealed this, and he said this was days before his fight with Rocky Fielding. So you're going on a brand new platform, your brother, family member held hostage, and the bandits or the people, the captors, are asking you for money if you want your brother's safe release. And Canelo, days before his fight, has to orchestrate this whole situation to get the safe return of a family member days before his fight. So I can't really imagine Ryan Garcia, especially since it's nothing that's publicly declared or that people have found out about now. I can't imagine whatever you're going through is probably any more supreme or saddening or crazy than that. Your brother being held captive in Mexico. And sometimes those situations, they'll hold you and they kidnap you, and you can even pay them, and sometimes they'll still kill you. When you see it in movies and stuff like that, sometimes they'll still kill you, even if you paid them, because they don't want no witnesses, or that you might have seen their face, or whatever the case may be. They don't want retaliation, so they might just off you. So that's a scary situation. So I can't imagine Ryan Garcia at 22 and all looks well from the outside. And I understand that depression can creep up on you and things like that, but look at what other fighters have had to deal with. You had Tony Harrison, he just fought on PBC. People, criticize his performance with Brian Perala, and his dad just died not too long ago in this pandemic. Same thing with Jarrett Hurd. He's about to fight on a big card with Floyd Money Mayweather and Logan Paul, and his pops just passed, right? Buster Douglas, weeks before the Mike Tyson fight in Tokyo, massive underdog, his mom died, and he dedicated the fight to her. So again, boxing is one of those sports where, unfortunately, topics like this, it's just when you're hurt, sometimes you have to mask it. You have to put your big boy pants on and mask it. I'm not saying don't get professional help on the side or speak with a therapist and things like that, but you kind of have to hide your pain. And this is one of the rare sports where that's the case. Like I said, I used to work at Lowe's, and people would get cut. They'll cut their hands on a shard of metal or glass or broken tile, fall off a ladder, drop something on their foot, whatever the situation is. And me as a manager, they would have to come up to me, oh man, I just cut myself on this broken tile. I need to go to the doctor. I need a Band-Aid, I need stitches, blah, blah, blah. Or I can't see. You would report. That's what happened. When people got hurt at the workplace, a lot of them would get workers' comp or whatever the situation is, and you would report your injuries. But boxing, you could have a broken jaw, and it's, again, one of those rare sports where all your pain, you can't let nobody know about it. You can't let nobody, you're in the fight, and it's for your own safety. Like, there's a fighter who's been trained his or her whole life to basically kill you, hand-in-hand combat, or beat you down, you know what I mean? And you got to mask your injuries and your pain and pretend you're not hurt when that body shot is killing you and it almost made you go down. This is boxing. So Ryan Garcia, I don't really see him starting a new phase of boxing where this becomes the norm. And how do you police something that is so, like, did Ryan Garcia, is this a self-diagnosis, right? Did he just say, I'm depressed and this is how I feel? Or did he get like tested or go to a psychologist and they determine this is what he's suffering from? Because my thing is this, I've maintained the same thing. I'm not anti a fighter if they feel they're really effed up or incapable or not fit for competition. That's fine. However, there's a big however. It is not fair. It is very unfair to the rest of the division who's able and willing and has problems just like everybody else, and they're able to continue competition, for Ryan to continue to hold a belt hostage while he's getting taken care of. So the sanctioning bodies would have to strip him, or you would lose your ranking, because if he's not able to compartmentalize and internalize what he's going through, fine, get the necessary help. So I think he's putting himself in with this whole situational thing, he's putting himself in almost a bad position, because I don't see how the WBC will be able to protect him and keep him a champion while he figures it out. Boxing, there are no timeouts. The only time there's a timeout is if the referee administers a timeout because of a foul or something like that. But there's no timeout or let me get an extra rest or let me, you know what I'm saying? There's no breaks in boxing. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to sound unsympathetic or heartless or whatever. It's just I've been in this sport, dedicated my life to this sport. And at the end of the day, that's just the reality. Floyd Mayweather, his ex-fiance, the week of his Maidana fight, a dangerous puncher who had some gloves, the whole glove fiasco, she gets with that TMZ like celebrity attorney, and they accuse Floyd of all these things and announce a public lawsuit, have a press conference for that. This is the week of the Maidana fight. And Floyd still had to fight a dangerous puncher, right? Floyd, before the Cotto fight, he knew after the Cotto fight, he was going to have to do a brief jail stint based on the plea agreement that was administered or done, So that's a lot of pressure. A person never been to prison, never been to jail, and then and you're a celebrity at that, and you have to go to prison for the first time. You know what I mean? Like, fighters just deal with pressure. It's just kind of comes with the nature. And it's crazy to think that Ryan Garcia at a tender age of 22, 23, whatever age he is, he's already almost succumbing from the pressure, and the anxiety is getting the best of him to the point where he's pulling out of a fight saying, hey, nah, this is too much. And he hasn't even got to the bigger fight. He like, it just doesn't make sense. You were just saying you were going to fight Tank Davis and Pacquiao. Those are like the biggest fights that you probably could fight. So if you're already like starting to wither to the pressure, and then, to the point where you have to respond to the fans and say, hey, you guys don't know it hurts, and okay, I just won't smile anymore and stuff like that, and you arguing with fans, maybe you do need some time off from the sport, because boxing is unforgiving, and there's people who are ready and willing to compete and work. So I don't see it that it's just a weird situation to be in, and I don't see how you can keep your positioning, keep your rank while you figure life out. And everybody else, Mike Tyson, he was being robbed by managers, and Don King and Robin Givens divorced, and Cus D'Amato died, and he's the same age as Ryan Garcia, and he had a crazy upbringing, the Catskill, Brownsville. Ryan's from Victorville. I don't know what the life is like out in Victorville, but Mike had a rough upbringing and stuff like that, and he just has to go through it. He has to go through the roller coaster. You get on the roller coaster, you almost can't get off until the roller coaster's over. Ryan Garcia is basically saying, hey, I'm taking the time out. So, I don't know what this really means. And then he's posting pictures, and then people are now doubting him. Like, hey, you in Hawaii with your girl? I thought you was depressed. It's natural. People, it's the online. You can't control. You can't police the internet. People are gonna feel what they feel and say what they say, and they're gonna have doubts. You have to be prepared for this lifestyle. And that's my 2 cents. That's my whole thoughts. So if he does need to get something like looked at or taken care of, that's fine, do that. But the rest of boxing needs to continue. And I don't see how you can just pull the plug when you want and say, hey, wait for me. Let me get my life. I got girl problems and, relationship woes. Give me some time while I can figure out. What about Javier Fortuna's mental health? He's had like 4 or 5 big name fights fall apart. And this is his livelihood. He probably make less money than Ryan Garcia, if we're being honest. What about his mental health? He was supposed to fight Devin Haney. Haney had to have a shoulder surgery. He's supposed to fight Luke Campbell, and then the pandemic happened. He was supposed to fight Jorge Linares. They said Linares had the Rona, C19. Then he was supposed to fight Ryan, got announced. A week later, he pulls out. What about his mental health? What about these Cuban fighters that defect from Cuba and got to leave their wife and kids and the rest of their family there, coming to America in search of a better life? Now, listen, I don't try to compare people's tragedies and stuff like that, but it's just like, what is Ryan going through that's bigger or like crazier than what every fighter is going through? You talk to 10 fighters, 9 of them will tell you this. Most fighters don't have 100% camp. Some camps are better than others, but most people will tell you they had an injury or something was bothering them, or the weight cut was hard, or they didn't get to see their kids and their family because they were up in Big Bear or wherever training away from their family. They switched to a new coach and they weren't used to the city they were in. They didn't know where nothing was at. This is just boxing stuff. Like, how do you have custody of your kids if you're going through all this stuff? Like, this just to me is not the best of looks for Ryan Garcia. And then sometimes, I don't know if Ryan has OGs. I always hung out with at least a couple people who were older than me, and it was beneficial as a man because they could teach you stuff before you get to that level, like, because they've already been through it. I don't know if Ryan has some OGs, but he needs some OGs in his life, because you've already pulled out of the fight. Mental health, let people say whatever they want to say. You can't police that, So to me, I would, at least personally, I wouldn't have put all this. I would have said less. Let people, if you know in your heart of all heart you're really going through mental health issues and it's the internet, you got to be prepared to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? Who cares what people think? But he's feeling the need to respond to Mario Lopez and the fan. I don't know. I think you need a PR person or someone or a therapist or whatever to get in his ear. That's my thoughts. Use my link to get ESPN Plus TUBEBUDDY. We working. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TUBEBUDDY. I've used TUBEBUDDY for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TUBEBUDDY is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TUBEBUDDY and level up your channel faster. We working.